Hi. In the last lesson, we learned if a line was either like two lines were parallel or perpendicular based on their slope. For today's lesson, we're going to be dealing with parallel and perpendicular equations. The objective is still the same as the last lesson, which is how do we define parallel and perpendicular lines and what is the relationship with their slopes. But we're going to apply that and try to create equations that is either parallel or perpendicular to an existing equation that is given. All right. So it says, what do we need to write a linear equation? We learned about the equation of a line, which is, oops, let's do that again, pen, which is y equals mx plus b. What we need in order to write a linear equation are the two things. It's our slope and our y-intercept. So the m is the slope, and then we have the y-intercept. So those are the two things we need in order to write a linear equation. So we're going to do an example. So it says, write an equation of a line that is parallel to the line y equals 2x minus 4 and has an intercept of 7. So in order to do this, we need those two things, the m and the b, the slope and the y-intercept. So let's look at the equation that they gave us. I'm going to focus on the slope. This is our slope, 2. So for this one, I'm going to put m equals 2. They gave us the y-intercept, which is b, and it's equal to 7. So now we need to create a line, and that means I'm going to be using y equals mx plus b, that is parallel to this line that they gave us, y equals 2x minus 4. So what we learned about slopes, about our slope with parallel lines, the slope is the same. So that means we're going to use another color. The slope will stay the same, so it would be 2, and then we're going to use the intercept, which is 7. So then we have y equals 2x plus 7. So that means that y equals 2x plus 7 is parallel, that's a symbol for parallel. It's parallel to, and I use another color, to y equals 2x minus 4. And then I'm going to write little information, got the same slope. So that's how you would do it. First thing you need to do is pay attention to what is given to you. And then the second is that determine whether you have to create a line that's going to be parallel or perpendicular. So the next example deals with perpendicular. It says write an equation of a line that is perpendicular, so I'm going to underline that, perpendicular to the line y equals 2x minus 4 and has an intercept of 7. Alright, so the first equation, I'm going to use purple. So the first equation that was given was y equals 2x minus 4. The m is 2. So now our new line, which I'm going to use another color, blue, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. They said that that line is going to be perpendicular to that. So what did we learn about perpendicular lines with slopes? The opposite reciprocal. So that means the m has to be opposite, so it's be negative, and the reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2. They gave us our y-intercept. That new line will have the y-intercept of 7. So now we just plug in our information. So it would be y equals negative half x plus 7. So that means that this line is perpendicular to the line that they gave us because the slopes are opposite reciprocal. And I'm going to write opposite reciprocal. I'm just going to abbreviate it. Opposite reciprocal. Right, so again, this is down here is just a breakdown of what we did. They ask you what the slope of the line was. We found which was 2. What was the slope? So I'm going to write down, actually, I put it in red so I can fill it up. So this one says, what is the slope of the line? 2. What must the slope of the new line be if it's perpendicular? Be negative 1/2. And what else do we need to write in equation of a line? We need the m and b. So the slope and y-intercept. So this is what we did to get to this result. The line that's perpendicular to the existing line that they gave us. All right. So remember, if you got parallel lines, the slope are the same. If the lines are perpendicular, then they are opposite reciprocal. Okay, so we're going to so the base steps to how to write an equation parallel or perpendicular to the given equation. The first thing, you define the new slope. You're going to base it off of the existing equation. Figure out, okay, if it's parallel, then the slope has to be the same as the existing equation. If it's perpendicular, then it's the opposite reciprocal. And then you substitute the given point and new slope into the equation to solve for b. And then write a linear equation using the new slope and the new y-intercept. So these are the steps, and we're going to follow it following the steps to do the equations, the examples. So the first one, it says find the equation of a line parallel. So I'm going to highlight this one, parallel to y equals 3x plus 4, and it passes through the point 3, 2. All right, so we're going to break it down. So this is going to be the old equation that we're working with first. So it is y equals 3x plus 4. For this one, we need to know what the slope is going to be. For the new equation, well, let's do that first. The new, for the old one, the slope is 3. So now, for the new equation, I'm going to put y equals mx plus b because I have to create it. They're telling me that the new line is parallel. So that means if it's parallel, then the slope has to be the same. But now it passes through this point, 3, 2. So we have our point. So I'm going to put the xy, which is 3, 2. So remember when we did an example in our previous lesson where we deal with a point and a slope? Okay, so we're going to follow that step. So with that, see if I could use something else. I use green to work with that one. So that I'm going to use that equation, and I'm going to plug in all the information that was given based on this. So I have my y as 2 equals, my m is 3, my x is also 3, and then plus b. So I'm looking for b. And you know what? Again, I'm working with the watermark, can't move it, so you can try to look at it as best as you can. So I'm going to say the letters and the numbers with it. So we're solving for b. So we simplify. This will give us 9 plus b. Then we subtract 9 on both sides. And then we get b equals negative 7. So we have our b and we have our m. So now we can create our line. And I'm going to go back to using blue. And I'm going to scroll down and then write our information. So we have our y equals mx plus b. We found our m, which is parallel to this line, which is 3. So y equals 3. We're just replacing the m and the b, and our b is negative 7. So then, if I want to conclude this, I will say that y equals 3x plus 4 is parallel to y equals 3x minus 7. And because it's same slope, I'm going to put same slope. Okay, so basically everything you learn in lesson 3 and 4, you're applying it to trying to solve, actually not solve, trying to find an equation based on whether it's parallel to the old equation or perpendicular. So you learned everything about the slopes. Parallel slopes, they're the same, and perpendicular slopes are the opposite reciprocal. If you have that information and then the other information they give you, then you're basically using everything you learned in the previous lesson and try to find the new equation of a line that's either parallel or perpendicular. So again, nothing new, you're just adding another step to it, and based on the information they gave you. All right, so this was working with parallel lines. So we found the line that was parallel, remember, same slope, and then you just plug in the points to the equation and then find your b, and then use that b and the m to replace it into the equation of a line to give you your line that is parallel. So now we're going to do that with perpendicular. So it says find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals x plus 2 and passes through the point -3, -2. So I'm going to, again, distinguish with different colors. So for the new one, the old one, it's y equals x plus 2. And we're looking for perpendicular. So this one is the same as y equals 1x plus 2. And the slope for this one is 1. So now we're going to determine what the slope is that is perpendicular. So this is the symbol for perpendicular. I'll write that. So get familiar with that symbol. It's an upside down T. And then for the new equation, y equals mx plus b, this line that we're going to find is going to have these points that is on that line and is looking for the slope that is perpendicular. So the m perpendicular of 1, the opposite reciprocal, is going to be m equals -1. So this was 1 over 1. You do the reciprocal will be -1 over 1, which is just -1. And they gave us a point. So I'm going to put xy, which is -3 and -2. And now we're going to plug it into our formula to find b, our equation to find b. So then, let's see, -2 is y, m is -1 times -3, which is x, and then b is what we're looking for. We simplify, so that'll give us 3 plus b, and then we subtract 3 on both sides. We get -5 as our b. So now we have our m, which is perpendicular to the slope of the other line, and then we have our b, and then we're going to plug it into our new line. So then we put y equals -1 x, or you can put -x, same thing, minus 5. So this line is perpendicular to this line because the slopes are opposite reciprocals. Again, using the same steps that you learned with finding an equation of a line with a slope and a given point, but now you just have to do it based on, is the line perpendicular or parallel to the given equation? Right. So let's do another one. Find an equation of a line that is parallel to y equals -3x plus 5. It passes to the point -1, -2. So the first thing I'm going to do is write the equation that they gave me. The slope for that equation is -3. So then that means I'm going to find the slope for the other equation, for the line that I'm going to find, is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So the opposite reciprocal of this is positive, and it's going to be 1 over 3. So that means that new line will have a slope of 1 over 3. Oops, sorry. Let's back that up. It's parallel. It's not going to be opposite reciprocal. Got to pay attention to that. I'm still stuck on the other example. So it's parallel, and it's going to be the same, -3. So again, scratch what I said before. It's parallel, same slope. And then we already have the given points that they have, which is -1, -2. And then we're going to find b, because we need an m, which is our slope, and a b, the y-intercept, to create the equation of a line. So now we have our y, which is -2, our m is -3, our x is -1, and then we're finding b. So it'll be -2, and then 3 is b, and then our b is equal to -5, because we subtracted 3 on both sides. So we have our b, we have our m, and then we can write our new line, which I'll do in purple. Just going to write the equation of a line first, and then plug in my m and my b. So my m is -3x, and then my b is -5. So this line is is parallel to this line because of the same slope. Okay. So yeah, so let's go back to recap. I'll go too far. So basically, we learned that in order to write a linear equation, you need the slope and the y-intercept. That's all you need, because the x's and y's represent the coordinate points that are on that line that you create. So you have a generic linear equation that will satisfy all the points that is on that line. That's why we only need the m and the b, the slope and the y-intercept. We also learned about creating lines that is parallel or perpendicular to an existing line. So if you have an existing line that has a slope of, like for example here, you have a slope that is 2, then the other line that's parallel to it will have the same slope of 2. And then you find your b and then plug it in. If the line that they give you is if the line that they give you has a certain slope and you need to find another line that is perpendicular to it, then you do the opposite reciprocal. The slope will be opposite reciprocal. You find your b, or if they give you a b, you use those two, m and b, plug it into the new equation, and then you find your equation of line that's perpendicular to it. So the steps again, to write an equation parallel or perpendicular to the given equation, you have to define the new slope. You have to determine whether the new slope is going to be perpendicular, that's opposite reciprocal, or it's going to be parallel. It's going to be the same slope as the existing equation. Then you substitute the point that they give you and the slope that you found into the equation to find b, the y-intercept. Once you find that b, you're going to take that new b, the b that you found, and the new m that you determined, and plug it into the linear equation to give you the line that is either perpendicular or parallel. I know this is a lot and may be confusing, but if there are any questions, please feel free to email me and I can guide you and give you the step-by-step with examples so that way you understand it. Alright, so this concludes our lesson and I'll see you around.